John McMullen has 5 on the Seahawks up right now. Plus, he's got news about a magician, a punter, and a special teams ace all up right now at 97.3 ESPN.com. It seemed like, something special was going on down that wing of the Howie Roseman hallway.
Yeah, Howie's bored, so he decided to take care of the special teams guys. But I'm learning something new every day about who I share the studio with on Tuesdays. I got a guy who doesn't like crab and a guy who hasn't been to the movie since 1998.
Yeah.
It's all new to me.
Well, which guy do you like better? A guy who doesn't eat crab? What guy can you trust more? A man who doesn't eat crab or a man who doesn't go to the theater? Come on.
I'm not going to go down that road. We'll go now. We'll talk about special teams.
So they get these 3 guys, and this is something they haven't been doing in the Kelly era, getting these guys in midseason.
That's true, but the one thing you can give Chip Kelly credit for is, hey, man, that guy really, really emphasized special teams. And the Eagles have been one of the best special teams in this league since Chip Kelly got here and brought Dave Fitt. And it really corresponded to bringing in Chris Maragos and Brian Raymond. And not a lot of organizations in this league specifically target good special teams players because you're so limited by the 53-man roster and it goes down to 46 on game day. A lot of people feel they can't afford that luxury. And the Eagles have always gone forward with the mentality that, hey, these guys are important. This is 1/3 of the game. And you've seen how many games they've won over the recent years from special teams. And it starts with guys they extended over the past 2 days. Chris Maragos, John Dornbos, and Donnie Jones, one of the best punters in this league. So they rewarded them all with 3-year extensions. They're all under contract through 2019. So I think this era of good special teams play is only going to continue.
Yeah, and Dornbos has been here a while. He's a guy that really makes it all go with the snaps, and then Jones sets the field position game that they win so often, and then Maragos, one of those guys you got to have on the team, one of those special teams ace. So they get that done today. I want to shift some attention to we kind of bristled over it some yesterday, but as these quotes have kind of come out more from Dorial Green-Beckham, and I read more of the articles regarding what some of the things he said, and it sounds to me as if here's a guy who hasn't really said much, and of course he's been painted in this light from the Dallas game. That's who he is now, right? He doesn't give a lot of effort. He's big and he plays small, and that's the guy he definitively is now to fans because we saw him in that one particular game. But is his message really, look, they're throwing the ball and giving a chance to Aguilar. I don't know what to tell you guys. You're asking me. I see it. You see it. We all see it, but I'm not going to really complain about it. But you're asking me, so I'm going to tell you.
Yeah, I mean, let's face it. DGB is frustrated like a lot of people are frustrated and basically at this particular position, and he's taken a step back. It looked like he was slowly ascending in this offense for the first 5 weeks of the season. Each week he would play a little bit more. He'd get a little more targets thrown his way, and there was just a little more success each and every week. And all of a sudden, that stopped on a dime. And it's been a number of weeks now, and he does look at times like he's lackadaisical. And these are some of the things that were sort of attached to him from Tennessee's standpoint. I talked to reporters down there, and that was the knock from Mike Mularkey. The work ethic wasn't necessarily there. You didn't see the same kind of impact from day to day in practice, never mind week to week. So these are things that have been around for a while, and there's a reason an organization gives up on a guy like that. So you've seen some of that come to fruition. It doesn't mean that's what he's going to be. He's still a very young man. There's still time for the light to go off. But one thing that's fair, it doesn't matter what he says, he doesn't play like a 6'5", 240-pound guy. He just doesn't. And but I will give you an example at a different position, and that was Le'Veon Bell coming out of Michigan State. People don't remember Le'Veon Bell. He was a 245-pound running back at Michigan State, and he was this big, bruising runner, but he didn't play like that. He was supposed to be, I should say, that big, bruising runner. All of a sudden, he gets to Pittsburgh. He's not that great. Then he loses a bunch of weight, gets all this quickness, turns into one of the best running backs in football. So as far as work ethic goes, saw it in this town many, many years ago, basketball fans, with Charles Barkley. All of a sudden, was an overweight kid in college. All of a sudden, the work ethic got turned on, turns into one of the great players of all time. Who knows what it takes for that to happen, but that's what's going to have to happen with DGB, because the consistency from again, forget about week to week, from day to day at practice is just not there from everybody who's followed this guy.
John, who's the guy, though, that mentors DGB to do that? Or to your Charles Barkley analogy, he had Julius Erving, he had Moses Malone, he had guys that told him how to be a pro. Which of the Eagles wideouts does DGB turn to for advice? I mean, Greg Lewis is going to turn him into an all-pro?
Well, he could turn to Jordan Matthews, because Jordan is an incredibly hard worker. He might be limited athletically, but he does everything humanly possible to make himself a better football player, not only during the season, but in the off season. He spent a ton of time back in Nashville in the off season trying to work on his explosion, trying to get better, trying to become a better player. And maybe it's just he's hit his ceiling, and he just doesn't have the physical ability to be a number one wideout, but it's not for a lack of trying. So if you're looking for somebody just to create an atmosphere that is susceptible to teaching you how to work, Jordan Matthews is a great example of that. Although, while I say that, Pete, I get your point saying that it's a big difference when you have superstars like Julius Erving, Moses Malone, people like that who do it. That carries a different cachet.
So for all the discussion about DGB that we've had, should he get more of a shot than Aguilar on Sunday?
Yes, he should. And that speaks to just how bad Nelson has been. More than anything, it really doesn't have anything to do with DGB. It's just, and maybe if it's only for a week, just give this kid a break, because he's not mentally there. At this point, I think it's virtually all mental. Because I always say with Nelson Aguilar, I think the Eagles reached when they took him in the first round. At the time, I had him rated as a second-round pick, and a lot of people did. But while I say that, we all had him rated as a second-round pick. It wasn't like people thought he was a third-round pick or a fourth-round pick. And my point of saying that is everybody in this league thought he was an NFL-level receiver. He has the physical ability, but as he makes mistake after mistake after mistake, it just seems to be weighing on him, and it gets worse, and it gets worse, and it gets worse. So to me, it's almost, sports psychology worthy. He needs to sit down with somebody, because it's more mental than physical.
Which guy on the injury report should concern Eagles fans more, Ertz with the hamstring or Jordan Matthews with the back spasms?
I would say Ertz, because Jordan's not going to get open anyway against that secondary.
Good grief.
I mean, that's just the reality. This is not the week you expect Eagles receivers to break out. I mean, let's be honest. If the Seahawks generally don't travel Richard Sherman, they occasionally do, but very, very rarely. If they wanted to, they could shut down any receiver the Eagles have, obviously. Deshaun Shedd's a very good cornerback, if people don't know him. And obviously their safeties are tremendous. So it's a tough week for the Eagles receivers. And you could say that's every week, but even more so And Zach can do things against anybody because of his skill set and the position he plays. And we don't see it, and it's frustrating for all of us. But if he brings his A game, he can catch the football in just about any defense in the NFL.
Hey, are you buying? It sounds like, the Reich and Peterson dual offensive coordinatorship there is trying to make it like they're going to run the ball and that they think it's very important. Do you buy that they'll actually set forth and do it?
Yeah, I think they want to do it. Again, that's flow of the game. If they're down 14-0 and we revisit this on Monday, we're probably going to be saying they didn't run the football enough because you're automatically going to go into pass mode to try to catch up in the football game. So a lot of it has to do with the flow of the game. But when you're playing in an environment like Seattle, yeah, you're darn right you want to run the football for a number of reasons. A, you want to sort of calm everybody down, and you want to limit the false starts in that loud environment. You want to keep the football away from Seattle and Russell Wilson and control time of possession and sort of shorten the game so you can kind of stay close into the fourth quarter and then steal it. So there's a number of reasons you want to run the football, but we always say in boxing, everybody's got a game plan until they get punched in the face. If you get punched in the face and it's 14-0 again, your game plan's out the window.
John, you got 5 on the Seahawks up. Let's take a look at a couple of the things that make this team tick a little bit here. They're very good at home. We always seem to talk about their defense. This is a team that played a game earlier this year that was 6-6. And many people were like, what's wrong with this team? They just seemed like they weren't the same. Then they went to to New England last week and won the game. So give me your thoughts on who this edition of the Seahawks are, because we've seen the Super Bowl champion edition, we've seen the Super Bowl runner-up edition, we've seen numerous editions of great defensive teams where there are Dan Quinn, Gus Bradley, head coaches in the NFL. So who are the 2016 editions of the Seahawks?
Well, I think they're still a very good team. They're still a legitimate Super Bowl contender, but they're not quite at the level they were when they won the Super Bowl and really should have won the second one, should have won back-to-back. They were a yard away until Malcolm Butler made the great play and sort of snatched victory from the jaws of defeat for the Patriots. But I don't think they're that level. And a lot of it has to do what we talked about earlier in the week. Russell Wilson, as a third-round pick, had a very desirable salary, and now he's making over $20 million. So when you have to outlay that money to the quarterback position, that hurts the back end of your roster. So they're not quite as deep as they once were. They've lost a number of players over the years. So they're not quite as talented as those Super Bowl teams, but they're still really, really good. And they've been playing a lot better since Russell Wilson has gotten healthier. He was banged up earlier this season. He had an ankle injury, a knee injury, a chest injury. Now he's got the braces off his legs. Some of the mobility is back. And when he's healthy, he's one of the best 5 quarterbacks in football.
John McMullen with us as we break down the Eagles and Seahawks. His article's up 5 on the Seahawks. Another interesting thing that you get into, John, is the Seahawks and their late season dominance and how this is their time of year where they start to go on a run. That and the fact that they don't get blown out are 2 things that are probably really scary for Eagles fans.
Yeah, this team has been unbelievable. We always talk about you win divisions in November, in December, and the Seahawks are 30-6 since Russell Wilson has taken over that team. That's how good they are. They don't get, as you mentioned, Pete, they haven't been blown out since 2011, and that happens to be the year before Russell Wilson got there. They haven't lost a game by more than 10 points in the entire Russell Wilson era. It's astonishing how competitive this team has been. And that's why if you're looking for the best case scenario and hoping, hey, the Eagles get hot and just blow them off the field, well, that's probably not going to happen.
No, but if we've been talking about this in lieu of the presidential election. We're looking for a path to victory. If they were to have that, ability to have some sort of path, what do you see as the perfect setup for Philadelphia on the road against a team that doesn't lose too often in this building?
The path to victory is what it usually is to the Eagles, and that's getting pressure with the front four and not having the blitz. And it's possible because the weakness of the Seahawks is their offensive line, and it's not very good. Their left tackle is better known for being a basketball player at Western Kentucky. Their offensive line is every bit as bad as Minnesota's was. Difference is Russell Wilson has mobility, Sam Bradford doesn't. So they're able to overcome a little bit more. And you can't sort of Jim against the Vikings threw a lot of zone blitzes that really, really confused Sam, and he had trouble with. You can't do that against Russell Wilson, because if you do and the blitz misses, all of a sudden he breaks contain, and then you have those cornerbacks on an island down the field against Doug Baldwin, Tyler Lockett. That's not going to work out well. So Brandon Graham, Connor Barwin, Fletcher Cox, Benny Logan, they not only have to get a strong pass rush, they have to get a strong, disciplined pass rush, keep Russell Wilson in the pocket, make him throw the football before he wants to. And if they can do that, they can pull off the upset.
John, we had Sal Powell on earlier, and he said the path to victory he thought was short fields. Like if they can not only turn the ball over, but the people that are hoping for 60, 70-yard drives like they had against the Falcons keep hoping and wishing. That's probably not going to happen. Do you feel like the Eagles' defense needs to be opportunistic and come up with those turnovers? That's a path to victory?
Yeah, I mean, you always have to turn the football over, especially on the road in this league. It's going to give you a better opportunity. But Sal's right, even more so in Seattle, because if you're thinking about 75 or 80-yard drives, it's not going to happen for the simple reason is there's going to be a mistake. And even if you're playing well, you're going to get the crowd noise that might turn a 2nd and 5 with a false start into a 2nd and 10, and it's going to derail a drive. That's what makes it so difficult for teams to drive the length of the field against the Seahawks at CenturyLink Field. Doug Peterson said it today, the 12th man, it's real. It's not, we're not making it up. It's very, very difficult to deal with, and that's why it's very difficult to drive the length of the field. So obviously turning the football over is paramount in any NFL game. Problem is Russell doesn't turn it over very much, and I think you can hope, but it's probably not going to be likely you do it. So I think playing sound, disciplined football on pass rush, I think that's even more important.
Hey, any thoughts of a hangover or looking past the Eagles since they did win? I thought this would be a real bad spot for Philly because you coming off of a loss, to New England on national TV, you come home, you want to get focused and get things right. Any, of that in your mind at all, that this Seattle team says, look, we're 6-2, we're 2 games up, we're flying high, we just beat New England, and then they come out and lay the stinker?
Yeah, I mean, there's a possibility because they're the Patriots of the Patriots, and people get up for the Patriots, and the Eagles don't have that reputation yet. So there might be sort of a sigh of relief and saying we got through that game on the road, and here we are in Seattle where we're 31-5, and you're just kind of expecting a rookie quarterback to roll over in that environment. So, it's a lot. It's similar to hockey, PT, in that if you're on the road and you can survive that first 5 or 10 minutes in those first rushes, you can settle down and maybe steal a game. That's what the Eagles are going to have to do. They're going to have to survive the first quarter, And if it's a tie game, they're down 3 points, you're saying, hey, maybe we can settle in and keep this close and go win it in the fourth quarter.
John, your pick for the game posted right now at 973ESPN.com is?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's tough to go against the Seahawks in CenturyLink Field. I mentioned the 31-5, I think, under Russell Wilson there. So I can't say the Eagles are going to beat them, but I do think they're going to keep it close because this defense, deservedly so, is one of the best in football. And I'm talking about the Eagles. Obviously, the Seahawks are also in that conversation, but I think it'll be closer than people think. But I have the Seahawks winning 24-17.
All right, more from John on all the signings the Eagles made today, and of course, Eagles Seahawks at 973ESPN.com. Follow him this weekend at JF McMullen on Twitter. Have a good one, pal.
Good stuff, John.
Hey, thanks, guys.